Yeah, it's good stuff, isn't it? The intro music. Wow. All right. Welcome back. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another live stream. Many thanks, as always, to $50 Dynasty for the epic tunes. Kyle's band. Of course, Russ is in it as well, but Kyle is the main man behind the $50 Dynasty. That's a track called Deos, if anyone's interested in it. Wonderful track. But yes, good to see everybody here on Twitch and on YouTube. I'm streaming on both at the moment. Got an Uncharted X Live over on the YouTubes as well as the Twitch channel. We've got the Twitch chat in here, but we're gonna make all of that disappear in a minute here because we're switching over to we can skip all these alerts because for some reason when I change scenes it runs the alerts again, but there we are. No background music today because if I run background music, YouTube just has a fit and I don't know, it starts making copyright claims on all of the music, unfortunately. So we'll just go that way. But yeah, I'm trying to keep Primark. Yes. Good to see some Warhammer fans in here too. And people playing the indie game. That's cool. And thank you everyone for all the subs and the support on the roll-in too. Much appreciated. I know it's been a minute since I live streamed last. Been busy. I was hoping to live stream from Egypt, but man, the bandwidth there is just terrible, unfortunately. It's just never, it's like 2-3 megabits upload at best kind of thing. Like it's so sketchy. There's some places where it's better. I mean, the Red Sea, not too bad. I didn't go to the Red Sea on this last Egypt trip, so if people that don't know, I did just get back from Egypt, I think on the 22nd, 23rd. Of December, so just before Christmas. And I am still getting up at 4 and 5 o'clock in the morning. I don't know what happens. I got home at like 10 o'clock at night, 11 o'clock, went straight to bed. I still got up super early, and every day since I'm getting out of bed at or before 5 a.m. Yeah, I mean, that's okay too, but yeah, it's just, I don't know, the jet lag knocks me around, and but it was a good trip. I was over there for, like 3 weeks, I think. It must have been close, maybe a little longer than 3 weeks even, because we did some really interesting stuff. I was there for several days beforehand, and actually you can see some of the pictures here. This is, me and the man over here. Me and Yusuf were hanging out doing some things just on our own. This is actually in one of the... This was actually kind of cool. We got down into one of these so-called boat pits at Giza, which is, trash pit, essentially, at this point. But, some interesting stuff in there. And we got into a lot of areas that were very interesting. And we did this. And I also have a new mic set up. So if anyone that's a patron or a channel member over on YouTube, you would have seen a video that I uploaded just for patrons. It'll make its way to the main channel eventually, but essentially we had some really... I just had these new mics, so we were able to do what I think is some really nice audio recording. So we do these walk and talks where we're both mic'd up, and this is this is like a little sample of it here. I mean, once someone starts talking.
I wonder,
yeah,
why did they close this gate?
To the Sphinx?
This one, right here. Because people used to visit and come out from here and continue walking.
Yeah, it is weird that they've closed that off, huh? I don't know why.
Need
It's
to
a
be
weird
guided.
fence. Like,
Energetically right. Maybe that's why they closed it.
the what?
Energetically,
What's up, Workmatic?
Yeah, energy. Yeah, like stopping people from actually
feng shui.
experiencing the full causeway.
So yeah, it's kind of cool. We have
Big structure, right?
Huge. And
so we did some walk and talks around here. We did Sakara, we did Serapim, and I haven't shared any of this with anyone yet. But we went to Sakara as well, just the two of us, and it was nice because we had we kind of had some alone time in the Serapim, which was cool. Trying to get into the back room. So we did all of that. We did that. I think we went to Memphis. Where else did we do? The museum, the new museum. So the new museum was open. So we got to go to the new Grand Egyptian Museum, and I can show you some pictures of that. I did take Pretty to a Gem. Yeah, we were busy. Like we were. This is like Mo came with us. He's like taking endless photos of us for some reason. There was actually, so I got this dude like sort of spotted me. Was standing at the vases, and he's just like he's kind of looking at. I didn't know who he was, but he looks at me. He sort of looked at me a few times. He goes, "Do you have a particular interest in these?" I'm like, you could say that. And he's like, "You're that dude, aren't you?" And I'm like, "I'm probably that dude." Yeah. Like, anyway, he's. As you can imagine, people that go to Egypt might have stumbled across my videos and they were looking at it. But he actually he's producing a new it's a computer game, some sort of, I think it's like MMORPG or something. But he gave me this amulet, like where they'd, like a little necklace and stuff, and his business card. But we were kind of, looking at the vases. They have a bunch of good stuff in here. There's all pictures of me, for fuck's sake. Where's the actual pictures of the stuff? But the museum's great. I actually went there like 3 times on this trip. There's 12 galleries open. It's roughly about a third of the museum is open currently. It still would take you several hours to go through everything that's in there. Probably the best part of a day if you were being, thorough about it. They kind of organize it by chronology, so there's Old Kingdom, Middle Kingdom, New Kingdom, Ptolemaic, Late Period. And for each of those, you have, society, kingship, and then beliefs. So they kind of have these 3 sections of like, there's like beliefs in gods and stuff, and then the pharaoh stuff, and then there's, society and just your general living, things like that. Uncle Si, thank you, man. I'm trying to keep up with the chat. And can we give the other boys the power? Who's that? Workmatic? Yeah, we can. Dan, we will add you as a moderator, and then Workmatic as well. Add you as a moderator. All right, you guys should be set up now. Thank you, guys. But so the vases were interesting, and so this is like outside. The one thing I'll say is unfortunately. I know this because I've been to Tanis. They took a lot of stuff. Like, they took a ton of stuff from Tanis. They took obelisks from Tanis. They took the big statues that you see in the atrium, the entryway here, pretty much all from Tanis. And
I'm a scientist.
Dan.
I'm a scientist.
Dan QLD's gifted Antcas 93 a subscription. Dan, they have given 206 gift subs in the channel.
That's a Twitch gifted sub. Thank you so much, Dan, for so many gifted subs and all the support over the years, mate. It's greatly appreciated. But yeah, so a lot of this stuff has come from Tanis. And of course, this is Ramses, Ramses II's cartouche, of course. So, obviously he's written it on everything. And, they have these nice, giant. Actually, the architecture of this museum, it is quite impressive. Like, it's fun enough. It's taken longer than the pyramids apparently took to build the museum. So it's taken more than 25, 26 years. I mean, it was supposed to be open.
Of course it is.
20 years ago or something. Like, it was. The original target date was at like 10 years ago or 20 years ago. Long time ago. And it's still not really done. They're still not done with what they do. They're still building it. They're still building stuff around it. But yeah, this came out of Tanis. You kind of then you have this one walkway, and it's like I said, there's only a little less than a third, really. I think there's 11 galleries open. They say 12, but one of them's still shut. Dennis Glanby, what's up, dude? Welcome back. Yeah, I did. It was a good trip. It was a long trip. Anyway, so yes, let's. Some of these statues are all good.
I'm a scientist.
Dub Selector.
Dub Selector gifted Dennis Glanby a subscription.
Thank you, man.
Dub Selector gifted a tier 1 sub to Dennis Glanby. They have given 52 gift subs in the channel.
I posted some of these little artifacts from Funerary Chamber of Mastaba, Saqqara, 1922. So yeah, this was like looks like an alabaster piece. Yeah, it is an alabaster vessel. But someone wrote on it, so maybe this Mera guy had it made in 1922. Or maybe the gem is also writing on it with their number 3537, and then this is probably the old Egyptian museum designation or whatever, 63,197. This was an interesting little calcite piece. Some people reacted to this online. Not everything's turned on a lathe, obviously, but little calcite pieces, diorite pieces. These are basalt, typical kind of pre-dynastic basalt stuff. And it's funny because the section in the museum, what they call like the early period to the Old Kingdom, it literally starts 700,000 years ago. So, they're already shifting back to like 700,000 years in the past. So this was, there's some calcite pieces here, but they had these fragments too, which look a lot like the fragments I've got. However, these ones, they're valuable, these fragments. I think we'll get to it here.
Oh, look at these fragments. Holy shit.
Yeah, okay, it's me talking. But they're valuable because of the inscriptions on them. These sort of etched or badly scratched inscriptions on these little fragments of these. This is like salt and pepper diorite. This looks like diorite gneiss. There's porphyry in here too. But it's funny how that's the reason that they're valuable is because of the chicken scratch writing that's been put on them. Let's see, chat. Audio keeps cutting out. Audio is cutting out. Is the audio cutting out on the Twitch? It is a bit choppy. Try pausing for a second or two. Might need more buffer. Let me see what's going on over here. I'm doing everything the same on both streams, so. Perfect audio on Twitch. Okay. Audio is fine on YouTube. All right, thanks. Yeah, I mean, look, I'm in the bush, right? And it's been raining nonstop here. It's wet and cold and raining, and I have microwave internet. I mean, I have like 40 or 50 megabits of upload speed. Should be enough, but it's we're going to move too. In the next year or so, we're moving house. So I'm tired of living in this. I love living in the boonies and living in the sticks and living away from people, but I'm going to move to a similar situation, however, one with gigabit fiber internet finally, because I'm over having subpar internet. I'm just over it because I just live on the internet. Both of my wife and I are the same. We just literally no other services. I have electricity and the internet. That's it. On a well, septic tank. I just need electricity. We don't have cable. We don't have TV. Haven't had it for 20 years. It's just the internet. So YouTube is not receiving enough video to maintain smooth streaming. As such, what is this? Open widget. Viewers will experience buffering. Okay, it did say stream is healthy before that. Stream status poor. Let's have a look. Stream health. Is there a way to fix that? I don't know. Is what it is. It's going to be what it's going to be for now. So, sorry if the quality dips. Hopefully it comes back. Maybe the ISP heard me bitching about them.
This looks like familiar.
Mm-hmm.
Shit. I wonder if I'm going to get...
Yeah, we can. I was talking to you about some stuff. I should probably vet some of these footages before But yeah, there you go. So this is why that piece is valuable, because of the fragments. But if you look at where is the vase segment, so there was a nice vase display. There really wasn't very much. I was kind of hoping there'd be a lot more in terms of vases on display. There really wasn't a whole lot. Obviously, some pieces here. There was one main vase display, which was over here. Yes, this was it. Kind of the main area, and what they're doing here is a little
bit.
Looks good here. Okay, good. Yeah, stream is healthy again. It says. All right, so it's whatever. Bandwidth is going to vary. Your experience may vary.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, this is the guy I'm talking.
Yes, I had first time here actually.
Really?
Yeah. We got a group of people.
Just to this museum?
Yeah, my first time in here. Yeah.
So one thing, I'll just turn that down. One thing that they are doing that they don't do at Saqqara, and this is important, is that did they date the fragments by the scribing on them? Pretty much, yeah. I mean, if that's one of the reasons why they, even in the Step Pyramid, which is a third dynasty structure, they tell you that a lot of those vessels are inherited heirlooms that were recovered from older tombs, is because there's the names of first and second dynasty pharaohs on them, so they have to admit that, maybe he just recovered them, as in he robbed them. Like Joseph went out and had them taken from other tombs, probably a lot of them. So they're kind of admitting the inheritance idea. Like they're admitting that, maybe this stuff is, not necessarily made by the people that it was buried with, which is obviously not a concept that is very well widely embraced in Egyptology, but I think it's one that is super important, that explains a lot of the stuff we're looking at. And at Saqqara, I mean, they do separate the two industries, right? There's the tale of two industries, where you have the pre-Imhotep, and Imhotep was the architect for Djoser. He designed the Step Pyramid. He was a genius sort of dude. He came up with the process of making these things, like these alabaster vessels you see here. And in the Saqqara Museum, it's called the Imhotep Museum, they literally make that distinction, because it was something that was written on the walls. It tells you the story. It's like, says, okay, before Imhotep, all of the vessels, the stone vessels, were made from these very hard types of stone that, they don't really talk about the precision of them, though. Obviously, those are the ones that we've shown to be very precise. A lot of them, certainly not all of them. And then Imhotep came up with this, all right, we're going to make other vases from alabaster, this white stuff, which is way, way softer, like 2.5, 3 on the Mohs scale of hardness versus, 6 to 7s and even higher for some of these diorites, porphyries. There's even stones with corundum in them, things like that. And these alabaster vessels also are obviously handmade, right? They're not precise. They're not symmetrical. You can see they're handmade. And but they're later, they're made after the stone vessels. I think it's clear imitation of the stone vessel work. They couldn't make those stone vessels, the hard stone precision vessels. Obviously, they were valuable. They knew they were amazing. So Imhotep came up with a process to imitate them and make their own vessels from alabaster, which is what these ones are. So at Saqqara, in that museum, they separate the two displays. Like you have the alabaster stuff over here, and there's even the scene on the wall that shows you how they made them. It's with the rotating, the bent stick with the flint tip and the weights, and they're rubbing on them with bits of rock and stuff. But then you've got on the other side, you've got those pre-Imhotep vessels, the hard stone vessels, and they're just sort of on their own. And there's no explanation for how they're made. However, a lot of archaeologists just sort of ignore those finer details. Send me money, old boy! And they just go, look, they just made them all the same way.
Subscribed for 29 months.
Captain Scamp, man, 29 months, dude.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, sir.
You're a gentleman and a scholar.
Had to restart it. 1080p smooth as silk in the UK. Good. Hard next to not as hard. Yes, and so I'll show you all of that. Like my point is, and we'll get into that. I'll show you actually I have some really good footage for that, explaining that tale of two industries. I have some really good footage from the museum, and from this museum where you can see they ignore all of those They're just ignoring all of those nuance to this, and they just jam it all together. So you've got hardstone vessels and the alabaster vessels in one display, crammed all together. And I think, oh God, stop. Where's the display? It's this one. I mean, why don't I have any good pictures of it? I should. I mean, I know I tweeted out some. I was taking a lot of video of it. I feel like I must have footage of it. I just, it can't just be all video. Maybe it is. What the Where are my good pictures, though? I know I tweeted like a pretty good picture of like the whole thing. I mean, I think this was one of the displays. There were a couple of these displays. Oh, God, what did I do? It's really bizarre that I know. Why can't I find it? Let me have a look here. Yeah, it's in here. Go primordial, pre-tour gem. Is it in here or something? Just go view extra large icons. And there's a lot here. Like, there's a lot to get into when it comes to the gem. I just want to find the one picture of the vase display, which I know I have somewhere. And it's just super annoying that I can't see it here. There it is. Fuck's sake. So here's the vase display. And this is what I'm talking about. Like, I think they just went, this will look really pretty if we put all the alabaster ones around the outside and we put some of the hard stone ones on the inside. And they just attribute it all to the same thing. But this is the main vase display. So I wish there was more. I know they've got like 100. They've got so many more of these things. I mean, look, the Museum of Fine Arts in Boston has 300 of them. I think they have like 15 on display. The rest are in shelves and stuff. But I think this would be a great chance for them to actually display a lot more of this stuff. And that was my hope, but I haven't seen it yet. And of course, they're not done yet. Can you talk about the cameras that you use? Yes, I will. Lundy's Den. I just hope you remove all the in the shower pics before stream. I guess we'll find out. I haven't really edited or removed too many photos. I might have taken a picture of myself in an elevator at one point. That last one in the back on the middle has a proper handle. Yeah, so some of them do have handles, some of them don't. I think there's some footage here. So this one, obviously these have handles. These ones don't. This one doesn't. This one has just the barest hint of a handle. This is like the tube version.
A little bit. You're the guy, aren't you? Yeah, I guess so. Yeah.
This was him asking me. Listen.
Special interest in me.
I actually caught him asking me while I'm filming it.
Special interest in these. A little bit. You're the guy, aren't you? Yeah, I guess so. Yeah.
You're the guy. Yeah, this one has handles. Like, they're still curved. It looks like they still have a curvature to them. I mean, this one also, like this little one here, looks like almost like a bang-on. Looks very close to the OG vase. Very close. The handle's a little bit higher, but very close.
What, money? Somebody's going to send me money? Oh, boy!
Workmatic.
W0matic just resubscribed for 25 months.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you so much.
You're
for
a gentleman and a scholar.
Hugely appreciated. Does the Egyptian Museum have the lion's share of the vases they found? I don't know. So, look, there's people bitch and moan about how many there are. There's people like, oh, there's not 40 or 50,000 of it. I think there's way more than that. I think there's probably more than 100,000 of these in circulation. There are literally reports of up to 1,000 to 2,000 of these coming out per day from Saqqara. In a single day, 1,000 of these coming out. I mean, half of Petrie's, that's the thing too, people were like, oh, provenance. Half of Petrie's collection, he was literally buying them from vendors on the site. Like, you go back to those times, that people would find these things and they were selling antiquities. Like, just people were selling antiquities. You couldn't make them. You can't make these things. We can make them today, but I don't think anyone's making them in Petrie's time. Not like this, and not with the precision that we've seen. And we're scanning, a lot of stuff from Petrie. But he was buying stuff off the street. I mean, that's half the stuff in his collection. He says, bought from a vendor or whatever. Some of it, obviously, they find. And in the museum, it's like it's 40 to 50,000 or more than that. So, I know private collectors, and I'm not talking about Matt Bell, other people with 300 of them. Matt's got, I don't know, 100, less maybe, but more than 50. Adam's got a bunch of them. There's a lot of these things in private hands. Petrie's museum has something like 10,000 pieces. They're not all vases, but there's a lot. And that Petrie's museum in London, it represents the bottom 5 to 10% of Petrie's entire collection. Like, it's literally his teaching stock. It's the stuff that he considered to be the lowest quality stuff he had, that he then donated to the University College of London to use as teaching material. And that still is more than 10,000 pieces. And that's like literally described by those people as the bottom, maybe between 5 and 10% of his artifacts. All the good stuff he had, Petrie would give to his benefactors, his friends. He kept for himself. It's in his family. So all this stuff ends up on the private market. There's probably, I would guess, more than 100,000 of these things in circulation. Easy. Certainly quite common. And in fact, there's so much to talk about with all of this because, there was Carolee and Adam were in there scanning stuff in the Petrie Museum. They came. I'll show you something cool. Just for you guys just between us. Well, us people here on the stream. We were doing some other things that were kind of interesting. For example, these are handmade vases. So actually, Yusuf gifted me one. These were made by Yusuf's brother. Let's see. Oh, this is actually kind of a beautiful piece. Let me go back to this. This is Yusuf's brother made this for me. Well, he made it. You can buy them in his store. This is like a composite quartzite, or it's just a composite stone with handles. I mean, it's not it's not centered, like the hole isn't centered. This is not made on a lathe. It was made with power tools by hand. But it's quite heavy. It's obviously a single piece of stone. It's not, if you grab on the inside, you can't really see it, but it's not particularly well hollowed out. But it's an interesting data point, right? We scanned these because it's like another data point to look at. Okay, what can you achieve with sort of handheld power tools? This is not a lathe, but it's power tools, grinders, and all that sort of stuff. Yeah. So we had scanning gear. So, some other scanning things might have happened, like in here. And some of you eagle-eyed people might recognize where we are in this picture. So we spent 3 or 4 days doing stuff in situ, for example. So we were at Saqqara for a whole day, and this is down beneath the step pyramid, and these are fragments of vessels and vases, and this is also where you see that Taylor 2 Industries stuff. We also went to several other places. Actually, my favorite part about this was using literally a piece of a giant granite bowl as a laptop stand. So this is a big, heavy chunk of. You can see the shape of it. Big, massive, really heavy chunk of a big granite bowl that's damaged, but it made for a pretty good laptop stand. So, yeah. So anyway, some very interesting data was collected while we were here. Put it that way. And I think my comment when I posted something like this in the Discord, something like this was provenance this haters. Right? It's like people bitching, man. Oh, you're scanning fake vases and shit. Yeah, okay. I mean, I think the provenance argument is ridiculous. Like, it doesn't hold any weight. It doesn't hold up to any sort of logical scrutiny at all. But where's your fucking arguments about provenance now? You know. Plus, look, this scanning project has legs, right? It's happening. The Petrie Museum stuff, vases have been scanned. It takes time to do the analysis. You know, just having the data is not enough. You do have to put it through, you know, a CMM system to do the actual analysis and define things. But there's more museums that are signing up. So we are getting into more museums. 100%. And in fact, I can't really talk about the details, but there is... It looks extremely promising that we're going to get to some of like the Holy Grail museums with these types of artifacts. So put it that way. This project has legs. Welcome to fieldwork. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we definitely got some people stirred up with some of the shit we were doing in the post tour. So we also got into Lahoon, because there's a box in there that's really important. And so some work was done in there, and you might be able to see it. Actually, the ceiling's fucking collapsing here too, so this is all rubble from the ceiling. But yeah, so this is the granite room. Let's see, what else do we have here? We must have some footage.
In this corner it's covered.
Yeah.
Put it in people's face.
So yeah, there was some other stuff happening. They've been digging further down in Lahoon as well. Let's see, what do we got here? Yeah, so field work was happening, put it that way. And this box was particularly interesting. Obviously, I've made a video about this box before. It's the granite box. This is one that Petrie described as the most precise artifact in Egypt. So anyway, I don't want to get into too many details on all of this, but we did some interesting stuff. We'll see how it goes. We'll see what comes out of it all. I was happy to be part of it. So yeah, a lot happened on this trip. So we had also in between. So I had that pre-time with Yusuf. We did a 2-week tour. That was the primordial tour, which was a lot of fun. And then we got into we had some special permissions for a few days afterwards with 3 or 4 people. Yeah, it's the box with the slope, exactly. Yes, you can look up my video on it. It's called, I think, The Most Precise Object in Ancient Egypt. To Boston Field Museum in Chicago. Boston Museum, yeah, Museum of Fine Arts. They have a lot, in fact, and we do have an appointment at the Museum of Fine Arts to look at some of their collection. And in fact, this gets backed. I've seen some comments. I mean, so it's the Museum of Fine Arts and Harvard that were responsible for excavating sites like Toshka and some of the stuff in like the northern Sudan, ancient Kush region back in 1905, 1906. And there's very little records for this. Really, all you can go off at the moment are the photographs that are on display in the Nubian Museum in Aswan in Upper Egypt. And in those, they're the ones I talk about in the presentation. You can see the stone vases. Even the reports of those excavations, though, they typically just describe stuff as ware, W-A-R-E, like it's just they found various ware. Now, and a lot of times they're not specific. Is it pottery ware? Is it stone ware? It doesn't specify. For sure, they're 100% they found stone vessels. That you can see them. You can see that there's actually stone. You can see the difference between that and the pottery. You can see the imitation pottery. You can see the same. Literally what's on display in the British Museum, where they talk about the breccia. The swirls in these pottery vessels that are there specifically to imitate the breccia and the swirls in the natural stone of these hard stone vessels. You see those same damn things exactly in sites like Toshka in these burials. So, you wouldn't be creating pottery vessels that are imitating the features of stone vessels if you didn't have stone vessels. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like you wouldn't have a model Ferrari if we didn't have Ferraris. You wouldn't, you know what I mean? You wouldn't have a toy version of it because no one's conceived of the Ferrari. Like, it's the same thing, the same logic when you look at those images of Toshka. And I go through all this if you watch my last presentation video, I get into Toshka. And there's more to find there. And what's one of the nice things about going to that museum is we might be able to find out more of the specific details about that stuff. But people get all fucking worked up about Toshka. I don't care. I don't need it. I use it as an outlier example. A lot of those sites, because they do carbon date them back to 14,000, 15,000 years ago. Even then, you have the same set of problems with with talking about the early period, the first and second dynasty, or the pre-dynastic period with the Nakata culture. 6,000-7,000 BC, which and look, there's absolutely that's the thing. There's no doubt. It's not controversial. It's 100% acknowledged and admitted, and we know this. It's not something that's up for debate that these stone vessels existed during those periods. Right? They were found in Nakata and pre-dynastic burials. They're found in early period Dynasty 1 and 2 burials, and they're also found in early Old Kingdom burials. But a lot of those are admittedly from those earlier periods because they have some of them have shitty writing on them, etc. The point is that they are pre-dynastic, right? So you have and it doesn't matter how far back you go. Toshka's an interesting example because it looks like we have evidence going back as far as 14 or 15,000 years, but you have the same set of challenges. It's like those people from 14 or 15,000 years ago aren't making these vases. Like it's literally the same sort of burials that you see from the Nakata and the early period burials. It's very primitive. Fetal positions, shallow burials, bone and beads, bone combs and fish hooks and fish bones and, pottery, hand-formed pottery, not thrown on a wheel, like very primitive. There's no indication that they had any capability to make these vessels. And that is true also of these older burials. So people are like, they were being made 15,000 years ago. I think they're way older than that. I think the people from 15,000 years ago were also finding them and burying themselves with them. And that's what we dig up today. So it doesn't matter. To me, it's like it's an example of how far back they go in time. But the fact is they're pre-dynastic, and there's just no easy answer to how they were manufactured by any of those cultures. Doesn't matter if you say, well, it was only 6,000 years ago, or 6,000 BC, or it was 15,000 BC, or 20,000 BC. It doesn't matter. The point is those people weren't making them. They must go further back in time. Or there must have been people around during that time that had this capability, and that's a people that we know nothing about. Like so, the whole fucking argument about nitpicking over Toshka and whether or not there's stone vessels in those pictures and what where the records are or whatever. It's like we're going to try and find out. Like we're going to the Museum of Fine Arts, which was Boston and Harvard were the ones responsible for doing a lot of that. All those pictures from 1904, 1905 from Kush, that's from those institutions. What records and what they found from those burials, they should have them. We're going to try and find out, but like it's not. I don't need any of it. Like I think the point is already made when you go and look at pre-dynastic sections of any museums and you see Nakata 1 and 2 cultures or early period dynastic cultures with these hard stone vessels. It's like, explain this. You can't. I just wish we could carbon date those ostrich paintings in the quarry. Well, they should be able to. Angry Otter reacts, man. $5. Why is there so many structures in the Great Pyramid and absolutely nothing in the upper parts of Menkaure or Khafre? As far as we know, there's nothing in them. They are in the process of scanning, I believe, the Middle Pyramid right now. It's closed to the public. I believe they are in there doing muon detection. However, they have previously done some work, I think, from the chamber beneath it, and gotten a large chunk of the interior superstructure of that pyramid. And I believe it seems to be solid, but the results aren't out just yet. And I know they're doing other studies on the Menkaure pyramid, the third pyramid, there's those flattened sections. So not just the main entrance on the north side. If you go around to the east and where the pyramid temple is, there's also a flattened section of wall there. So for the last year and a half, there's been a tent there, and they've roped that off. And I've actually seen them. They've been dragging like ground GPR equipment across that face. I think they're looking for passages or they're looking for chambers. I don't know if they found them. So, yeah, thank you for the super chat. Angry Otto reacts. Nat Geo just released a new vid today. John S., thank you, man. Hey, and I do want to get back to a question that came up earlier, which was that someone asked me, like, what was the what cameras do I use? So just very briefly, stream cameras. I don't often take this one to Egypt. I didn't take it this time, but I have it's a Sony Alpha 7R2, I believe, with a bunch of lenses. I used to have the old Alpha series lenses. I had the NEX5, like the NEX series, like the compact ones, and I had a bunch of lenses, and I eventually got to the Alpha, like the Sony 7 series bodies. So I use that for streaming, but otherwise I'd use a phone. A lot of my stuff, it's done on a phone. It's a Pixel 7 Pro. But I do also have DJI Osmo products. I've got like the Pocket Osmo. I used to take more gear. I have a big rig way back in the corner here for this DSLR, like the big Steadicam rig. I have like the gimbal rig for the phone, and obviously I have that DJI Pocket Osmo. That's about it. That's really what I take these days. Dual streaming's very badass. Thanks, dude. Check out Erdstall or Erdstall, 60,000 years old tunnels partially through the hardest rocks in France, Austria. I've seen some interesting tunnel stuff in France. I was looking into it for a while ago. I think it's Lyon. There's a bunch of tunnels beneath Lyon that they haven't really dated. There's no cultural record of. They don't know why they're there. But Flying A, the recent podcast with Snake Bros, Carolee and Chris King. That guy Chris seems to have no idea how these were. Yeah, so Chris and Carolee were on my tour in March. Workmatic, dude.
Thank you very much, sir.
Workmatic with the $50.
You're a gentleman and a scholar.
$50 super chat. Thank you so much, Workmatic. Thanks for a great 2024, bro. Thanks so much, dude. Workmatic, you're amazing. Thank you for all the support. It's much appreciated. I hope to put out more videos than I did in 25 than I did in 24. I did. I think there was 12 or 13 on the main channel. Obviously, there was a lot of stuff that happened on this channel, the Uncharted X Live channel, and many thanks to Travis for the assistance, all his editing work to put out the stream highlight vids. It's been great. But thank you, man. Thank you so much for all the support. You've been a huge supporter for a long time. I very much appreciate it. So talking about Chris King and Carolee. Yeah, so I know Chris. I mean, and Carolee. We did a sit-down interview with... we actually had a nice little chat with Carolee. I think he's going to put it out on his channel. I'll probably put it out on mine too. Where is this video? So we were sitting in the... up on Yusuf's balcony drinking Guinness with a nice little backdrop, as you can tell. It looks fake, but that's literally the backdrop while we were talking. And we recorded for a couple of hours, so we did a podcast there too. But I know, and Chris has a lot of really good ideas. And him, and also there's a geologist, Chuck, that travels with us a few times, and they have ideas on how they think it could have been made with primitive methodologies. And I'm put it this way, I'm very skeptical about it. I encourage everyone to go try. Like, that's what should be part of this. Maybe they'll prove us wrong and they can make them. I don't think you can. I think the vast majority of machinists and experts who do work in those aerospace level kind of grades of precision would tell you that it's not possible to do with those primitive methods, although that we don't know until people try, So make a wooden lathe, make a stencil or whatever you got to do, make it, there are potential methodologies for all of that. So he's so dedicated, he even takes a green screen to Egypt for his tours. So Wolf Seat Witch, $10 super chat. Thank you so much. Boston is interesting. I think they set it up. It's like they want people to challenge the mainstream because it's shocking to the system. It's like, please select which ones don't belong. Yeah. Yeah, I know what you mean. And wet is much better. That's right.
I've done it for 25 years in the field. And believe me, I've done it dry, I've done it wet, and the wet is much better.
Thank you very much, sir.
Yes, thank you very
You're
much.
You're a gentleman and a scholar.
Anyway, let's get to some footage. I know there's so much to talk about from this trip. It was actually really good. And the other thing that we plan on posting that podcast to YouTube. Yes, we will. I just recorded that angle from my phone because he needed another camera, but he's got all the other. He's got like the audio and all that stuff. He's going to cut it together. And I know he'll put it on his channel, and he'll send me a copy, and I'll put it out on my channel too. Why not? You know, like do a swapcasty type thing. It was a good chat. I think it was good. I mean, I don't know. I was just recently on that. What was it? It was the other. Didn't the Ross Coulthard one just come out? News Nation, Uncharted X. Yeah, this one just came out. So it's 2 days ago, 229,000 views. And this was, I haven't watched it, but I don't really watch my own stuff. I don't really want to. But that did come out. So I'll add that to my podcast. So for people that don't know, if you want to watch me on podcast, just so you know, .com, if you go to my website, I do have a thing up here for podcast appearances. I need to add this one up there, but you know, JRE, Andrew Schultz, Concrete. This is with Before School with Mark, Nerdrotic, Forbidden Frontier, Cosmographia, Robert Edward Grant, Brothers of the Serpent, Foxhole, Limitless with Matt, Tinfoil Hat with Sam Tripoli, Germ Warfare, Jeremy Neal, Grimerica, Megalithic Marvels, a bunch of other ones. So just, yeah, I mean, anyway, radio, blah, blah, blah. So I do try to keep track of them and put them on in a place where people can see them if they really want to, like, watch some podcast shit. So did everyone go to YouTube chat instead? Well, let's see. There's 52 people here, and we've got 358 on YouTube, which should tell you a thing or two about discoverability on YouTube. And let's see. There was what was the other question? There was one before. You plan on posting? Yes, he's made some great content on his channel. Yeah, Carolee's doing good work, and as is Ross. Angry Otter Reacts. Thank you so much for the $5.
Thank you very much, sir. You're a gentleman and a scholar.
Do you think the megalithic culture that created the Assyrian also made the vases, or are they older? No, this is a good question. And this is I think go watch. I mean, if you want the long answer, watch my latest video, the connection, like ancient technology connections. It's a presentation. I do connect them together. So, and the vases are what's important. Like the vases provide that technological link to a lot of the other artifacts that show, you know, significant technology in them. And I break that down. You know, it's machining, it's precision, and it's logistics for things over, say, 150, 200 tons. Not everything, right? It's measured precision. It's machine marks for tools that you can't explain with the primitive tools. And it's logistics for, you know, the big stuff, 1,000-ton statues and whatnot, right? I think anything above, like, I think you can demonstrate that you can move 100 and 150 tons relatively short distances with primitive methods. I don't think anyone's demonstrated that you can do some of the things that have obviously been done when you're talking about blocks that are in the 300, 400, 600, 1,000 plus ton
Money,
range,
somebody's
right?
going to send me money, old boy!
Martin Gunn just resubscribed for 14 months.
Martin
Puller,
Gu, man,
Chat
thanks
and
so
Ben.
much.
How
Thank you
are
very
you
much,
doing?
sir.
D.
You're a gentleman and a scholar.
So, thanks, man. I'm doing well. Hope you're doing well. And I know it's been a while since I'll hopefully do a bit more streaming here. Bonnet Lake, dude. I'm going to get to that in a minute. Timmy. Oh, Timmy, yes. Let me answer that question. I'll get to that. Thank you so much, though, Timmy, for the $100, man. That's super generous of you. So it's the vessels and it's the vases. Because they're pre-dynastic, right? This is the thing. That the vases are small. They can be buried with people. You can't bury a goddamn Serapeum box with you. You can't bury a 1,000-ton statue with you. You can't, bury these big artifacts, columns and obelisks and stuff with you. So they end up staying on sites that later get reused in, like the Serapeum or Karnak or Tanis. Like they get re-inherited and reused and relabeled. So it's a harder argument to make that, these could be older because they've got these names of like Ramses II and Merenptah on them. However, the vases are pre-dynastic. They die out early on. There's no more after the 4th, 5th dynasty that don't seem to be making them. Not that they were making them then, but they're not attributed to anything after that period. And they have a technological link to these other artifacts through things like tool marks, like the tubular drills. 100% a part of vessels, right? There's tubular drill marks. We see those in the vases. We see those in other artifacts. They're linked through precision and machining marks. So you have these strong technological links where you see the same tools being used to make the vessels and to get to the precision that they have. You see the same thing represented in like the precision in the boxes. You see the same tool marks in some of these artifacts and statues. And they seem to be as precise, although, this is all needs to be measured. So they have this technological link. And for that reason, I think you can link them together, and I think it provides a lot of support for the idea, the possibility that these precise objects, these larger ones, statues, slabs, columns, obelisks, boxes, could all be older. Even pyramids could be older, could be part of that time frame that's associated to the vase. I think it's all the same class of artifacts. And, at the same time, you have the tale of two industries. So you have the primitive stuff as well. Yeah. So you have the primitive artifacts. You have the tools that have been found. You have examples of what those tools can create. You have primitive vessels. You have primitive boxes. You have primitive columns. You have primitive statues. So this is like the tale of two industries is one element of this, and then there's a connection between the technology on the precise artifacts that I think puts it all together. And I think it all points at this idea of inheritance and longer time frames. So there's a long-ish answer. If you want the even longer version, watch my last video, the connections for ancient tech. Bonnet Lake, $100. Ben's trip was great. Timmy Bush. And I assume that was you, Timmy. Timmy came on the trip. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you very much, sir.
Super generous of you.
You're a gentleman and a scholar.
It was a pleasure traveling with you. I hope we will do it again. I very much enjoyed watching you and Mo interact as well. And yeah, dude, thanks so much, man. That's super generous, and thank you again for coming to me. It was fun. I think it's a good time. It was a great time. Actually, the trip was, I'll say this, was excellent. We had an excellent group. As always, it seems to be the case. But I mean, even Yusuf, like days after, he was like commenting about how joyful, the group was. So
right. Then this could be from an older time, before they used the limestone to restore.
Right, the whole thing.
What I want to show you, if I can.
What money? Somebody's going to send me money, old boy!
Nigel_Armstrong just resubscribed for 14 months. Hi on Twitch too.
Hi on Twitch too. Nigel Armstrong, thank you so much for the 13 months, dude. And also Grant Bayer, the $5. So grateful for your work and channel.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you guys so much.
You're a gentleman and a scholar.
The precision of the statues and intricate carvings around the world suggest laser cutting from my perspective. Well, we see tool marks. I don't think that I've not seen any evidence for that type of thing in hieroglyphs either. I think all the hieroglyphs can be explained with hand tools. You just got your $50 Dynasty vinyl for Christmas. Well done, good stuff. So I do want to show you. I should have probably run this, set this up beforehand, but it's a good example. Good to show you like some of the examples of some of this stuff. Let's see. Where is Saqqara? Not post-tour Saqqara, we want actual Saqqara. So did I not mic us up for this? Because we did do a good chat. Because in here, this was cool. So we were down beneath the step pyramid. We weren't. This wasn't part of the itinerary, but everybody wanted to do it. So they all, people kicked in for another special permission, which was awesome. Other carved conduit lines at certain sites in the floor. They were covered with floor blocks. So the carved, the channel blocks are underneath the floor. Pretty much all of the Old Kingdom pyramid sites, they're there. Yeah, boxes don't fit in tunnels. True. So this one actually is interesting because you rarely see these tool marks on the outside typically get polished out, but we can see on this example tool marks that are actually still on the outside. But I just want to show you, so this is in the area underneath the pyramid, and this is why this is so important. This is probably a good clip. I feel like we mustn't have had our mics on us. We'll see if they are in the video
but to see striations on the outside shows you that these are turned, right? This is diorite.
Diorite nice. Yeah.
Diorite nice, yeah. Beautiful.
So smooth.
Yeah.
So this is the Tale of Two Industries, writ large, beneath the step pyramid with actual original examples and that you can touch and feel, and I think this is cool. So these two little round things here, they're alabaster, right? So we were looking at a piece of diorite that's like a 6.5, very hard stone. Tool marks, obviously precise, they're thin, the tapering, there's so many points about those vases. Obviously, machined in my opinion. And then right next to it are these things here, like alabaster, they're like these alabaster tube things like this. And you can see immediately that it's handmade. Like this is handmade. I've looked at these before. The bottoms aren't flat, they wobble. You can see it's thick on this side, thin on this side. There's not a clear indication of like that tubular drill coring out. Like this was ground out with that, the bent stick and that flint rotated. And this is what you get with handmade work. It's beautiful stone. It's alabaster. But you get to see the example of like the Tale of Two right here. Like this is the handmade stuff. And then this, this came after, Imhotep came up with this process after the stone vessels were already in their possession. So hopefully we get into that because I think we did a good job explaining it on this trip, and I think it hopefully will make for a decent video. Let's see. See, thin and thick.
Yeah.
Right next to these pieces of amazing vessel.
Get quite fine and thin, and then there's a whole bunch of them in the back here. And then you also do see what could be machined alabaster as well, right? So this, for example, has the signs of a tubular drill that's been used. So there's a difference also between the handmade stuff and even with alabaster. Some of it was made by machine.
We have here the circle in the center, and this is the edge of the dish. Yeah? So if you look from here, and you will see.
Look at this pile of them here, back here, like just tons of it.
So you can go past if you want to. There's So you actually, some of these vessels also get quite large. See, this is actually the remnants of what was a very large bowl. Feel that thing. See how heavy that is, yeah? Yeah, heavy.
This is part of also
The casing.
parts that used to be empty, some of it, and as we can see here, this looks like part of a sledge. A sledge.
Egyptians have blue tack.
This edge is sticking out,
Yeah.
and the inner part is going in. So when another piece slides in, it doesn't come out because this part is sticking out. A lot of impressive.
Should I do another? You guys, did you hear what I was saying before? Let me run through it
to say
again.
it again and
I will
again.
say it again and again. Yes, because it's important. It's
So maybe it's this next one. I think I actually got what's in it to film it. Yeah.
This is the nice thing about about this display and all of these thousands of fragments of vessels that we see down here. You can see the difference between the handmade work and the precise, carved work. So these, see these alabaster vessels, they're handmade, right? They're thicker on one side, they're thinner on the other. They're not symmetrical. That's, the bottoms, you don't see a tubular drill implant at the bottom. This is the result of the manual.
What money? Somebody's gonna send me money, old boy!
Swarvy McGarvey just
Swarvy
resubscribed for 19 months. Who's the handsome bald fella? Lol, lol.
Indeed. Anthony, what's up, man?
Thank you very much, sir.
Swarvy McGarvey.
You're a gentleman and a scholar.
Who is that handsome man from Manchester that's standing in there? Indeed. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much for the 19 months, man. Hope you're doing well. I heard you got a bit sick after the trip. His name is Yusuf. Yes, one of the several handsome bald fellows on the tour. Certainly not me, but yes. So this was cool. Yes, dude, that's I made the connection, indeed.
Hand move stuff, and then compare it to, can you pass me that diorite? You compare it to what we see in the hard stone vessels, much harder stone. This is a fragment of a vessel that would have sat here. It has a flat bottom. You have a tubular drill mark in the center that's very pronounced. You can feel it where they cored this out, they snapped this core off. And then you see things, what I think is some of the most impressive aspects of these vessels is the
great trip,
tapering.
one of the best days down there.
the
Yeah, I'm
base
glad
goes
everyone
thick,
signed up to
and
do
it
it
gets
because
thinner
it's
and thinner and thinner.
such an
And
important
it's just super
experience, I think,
consistent.
this
And
one.
the studies and the scans of these vases, we can show that that tapering is very hard to achieve in a three-dimensional format, but it's extremely consistent and symmetrical. So you compare the symmetry and perfection of this to that work, you can tell it's two different processes, two different industries, and then it's mixed together. And you get, even some of the alabaster though is also used with that process.
This is the modern one, or like this is the newer. They're both ancient, of course. But this is the result from like what we saw in the museum when they say before Imhotep
Vlogger.
and after Imhotep.
Swarthy McGarvey
So
came on the
the
tour. He's
tools
in some of this footage right now.
That
In
is
fact,
reflected on the walls of the old
Yep.
kingdom tombs is behind this result. And the other ones, of course, we find from the prehistory time.
Yeah, here's a lip. So also there's things like this.
this piece is actually really impressive. It was probably a small bowl, but it has this dramatic tapering to it that's consistent on both sides. And I really enjoy. I mean, on my tours, I always include this. Like Yusuf doesn't always. He does less special permissions. But everyone on this tour wanted to do this, so we had the time and we put it together. And I just think it's one of the most important sites for that to show you the difference in technology and to get your it's really the only place you can get your hands on this stuff and actually feel it, and you can feel the finished surfaces of these vessels. It's quite a privilege really to come down there. And yeah, as long as no one's like taking all the bits from it, but it's all good. Back now, your system crashed.
Fragment might have come from the old levels. This is a hard stone, but you also have these tight radii inside the lip and underneath the lip that are very impressive on some of these vessels.
I once found a shard, a very small piece outside.
Yeah. Marble. What's a rotate? It's a rotating table, rotab. So it's like a table that spins. It's like I had an example of it. I think we had a rotab where we were doing the scanning stuff. We put a rotab in there. Yeah, rotating table, basically.
On here, if you on some of these vessels,
I once found a shard, a very small piece outside, and it was like almost 1 millimeter thin.
yeah.
Yeah, I tried to save it, but I lost it because it was too small.
And there's another piece that shows the machining on the outside of the base. Is that the one down there?
This is the one.
Yeah, so you can actually see the striation. This is rare. This is quite rare.
Very rare because we can see the striations here.
You know what's crazy about this? So you get down to the very bottom level of this place. I think when we went down there again post tour, let's see. I think we got down in there. Where was it? Yeah, down here. I don't know if this is it here. Maybe this is it. Let's see. What's this? Is this Serapeum? No.
Yeah, it is the granite.
It's just a pyramid. This is like... Oh, this is at Lahoon. Lahoon. So this might be it here. So this is down in the...
back into that room.
So this is like the 5th level. You have to go down. They don't like any footage coming from down here. Whatever. I don't care. This is like the bottom level of what's beneath the step pyramid. So you go into these galleries below where the big box is, And then in one area, there's like a trapdoor that they always keep locked, and then it's even on special permissions, they don't open this up. It's like another special kind of deal. But then you go down a ladder that's, whatever, 15, 20 feet down to another level. It's really quite big, and there's huge, there's tunnels go all over the place. And there's big chambers in there too, down at this bottom level. And we found an area in there where there's actually a shaft cut. You have to crawl space into this area, and then there's a shaft that goes down another 5 or 6 meters, and it hits water. So it's like gets down to the groundwater. But there's probably more levels down there, but now they're underwater. And there's another area of this massive level where there's a passage that slopes off. And in fact, what was down here though, this is like a lot of the vessels were found down on this level. Yeah. And we got into an area in here where there was what was probably a magazine full, like a gallery, or just you would call them magazines full of vases. That at some point it had collapsed, because you could see it's like midden, and there was like a wall of dirt and stuff. But in that dirt, there were literally vase fragments in the dirt, like embedded in the walls. And it was absolutely insane. We're picking, like, you'd pull out these little fragments of these hard stone vessels. Absolutely incredible. And I bet if you dug through all of that, I mean, you wouldn't want the ceiling to come down on you, but if you dug through it, you would find whole vessels, probably still whole vases in there, I imagine. So these are like examples of some of the pieces that you find down at this bottom level. This one here has like this really crazy radii. Oh yeah, so we were looking around, and
a whole bunch more fragments here.
I think this is where that shaft area is.
A whole bunch more fragments here.
But this is like in those original locations. There's just stuff all over the ground here.
Yeah.
Like pretty cool.
Bring it up, fuck it. It's a bunch of little fragments of slate and other vases and bowls here.
I think this is that crawl space.
That goes down. Does that go around the corner? That's a shaft that goes down about.
Yeah, there's a shaft in there that goes down. So that's that shaft that goes down. Crawling in the. You're way underground here, you know. So yeah, it was in this corner here, like in this low area. There's a shaft in there that goes down, and they had it covered up with wood, but we kind of like pulled the wood back and had a look. Did you see the alabaster boxes again? Yes. Yes, we did. So I did want to find this other. Maybe it's this here. I don't know.
Huh?
Shall I grab this one?
To bring it back up to scan it? Yeah. Hello.
So these are those alabaster boxes here.
Where they were.
That's why they need these tubes in the walls.
Yeah. There's a tube drill in it.
There's an overcut in the box. There's tube drills in the box. I just want to get to like a specific area, and I know my footage is janky as F. It's just the nature of it when you run around down there.
There's base fragments stuck in the walls.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is it here. This is like the collapsed magazine area.
They're asking us to come up.
Yeah, we'll run out of time down there. Just like you only have a couple of hours.
Yeah.
Bringing knee pads, I know, right?
What is it?
Getting the yips, yeah. So see that? There's literally a piece here. So this is all midden. So this is probably an ancient collapse onto a magazine or onto an area that was full of these vases, because you literally see in the walls vase fragments. See this?
Dude, there's like fragments everywhere.
There are.
This is a fucking midden right here, boys.
Look at that shit.
Oh my god.
This is actually insane.
That's bizarre.
And it's like unstable though.
Hole in there somewhere too.
It's probably a full bowl.
So what is this, like salt crystal buildup over the and midden?
Something collapsed. There's a big piece of wood right here we could have carbon dated.
Huh.
And look, these are fucking stone blocks.
Yeah, see, like these are stone blocks here, along here, and in here looks like stone too. So I think something happened where this chamber collapsed at some point, and I think I do pull a small piece out here.
Yeah, so if you excavated this, you'd totally find whole vases. Yeah.
I don't know if it's flood deposited or not. This.
So they were yelling at us to come up.
Fuck them.
You guys get an uncut.
I don't know.
Uncut. So yeah, here's a little piece. I think I literally pull that little bit out. So it is a fragment. Like that's diorite,
Well, that was fucking cool.
right there, and you can actually see there's a little tool mark on it.
Dude. Yeah, this probably is a collapsed magazine.
You know what though? This is from above, right? It collapsed.
Yeah.
And pushed everything down.
Why isn't it fully investigated yet? Well, they don't. They literally don't care about these fragments. They just toss them around, and they're not excavating down here anymore. So they're done. Like there's literally, I have footage from when we'll be down there on the tour. I think I'll probably have a little bit of footage from crawling into that space where this is at the top here. Let's see. Might be down here.
Yeah.
Frank, where is it? I want to try and find this.
Down structure.
Yeah. Well, so this.
So yeah, this is another passage that leads down, but it's just
like
full
an
of debris.
unexcavated
You got fall
area
here.
of this, right?
Did I fall down here? I'm trying to think if I. No, I didn't fall.
It actually, they've excavated a bit. Have you got that flashlight, someone? Have you got a light?
I had one in my pocket.
Yeah, we do.
How old are those shards? Who knows? I mean, they were probably put in there in the third
It's
dynasty.
clearly a descending passage that just keeps going, and it's just, it is worked.
So yeah, there's another passage there. Let me find the. So yeah, these are the boxes down here.
Hello.
What is this?
That's what they say. Yeah. Flashlight. No. Inside wall, see there's an overcut?
Just showing people stuff. Let me find this area. Like I want to try and show you this shaft that goes down. So it's cool to get. It is.
Down.
No, that's that other one. Maybe it's here.
What?
This is literally that area with the. I just wasn't noticing the walls.
Yeah.
It's actually fragments in the walls here.
Look at that. Stuff everywhere, bro. Christ. Through here, all these galleries.
I'll find it. Sorry, I know we're jumping around a fair bit. Hey, this is it here. So you gotta like crawl through into here. Must be this next one. Yeah. So yeah, here's the shaft that's in the corner. I don't know if I actually get a look at it. I haven't looked at this footage. But yeah, they'd covered all this up with water, well, with wood. And I talked to the guys that were doing the work here, and he was like, it goes down 5 or 6 meters, and then they hit water, and they sort of just went, well, okay, we can't go any deeper.
Apparently 5 meters.
And I don't know why I didn't have a torch with me. I thought I did. Yeah, so. Anyway. Brian Forrester put a premiere on. Wah wah wee wah, indeed. Brian Forrester put a premiere on. Yeah, actually it was funny because I noticed this happened while we were on tour. So after the tour we went to the other place we went to that really was interesting because I don't think there's anyone's really ever shown what's in here, was the Black Pyramid. So we went inside the Black Pyramid and it was funny because I posted some pictures from inside. I think I posted this picture or one just like it. It was like one of these pictures with my hand in it. And I posted it as well, along with a few other pictures. And Brian immediately like screen grabbed it and posted it on Facebook without he just read Black Pyramid, and he's got a much bigger following than me on the Facebook and stuff. But he just took my picture and posted it like literally within about 30 minutes of me posting it, and no attribution or anything like that. I was like, whatever, Brian. But it was funny. I was like, okay, you want to do that sort of thing, that's fine. But it seems like something you should probably just either, if you're going to do that, attribute someone. But I don't actually care. But it was really pretty cool getting into the Black Pyramid. Like there's a huge amount of stuff. It's hot as fuck down there too, like just crazy hot. And then narrow. Like I was squeezing into stuff.
And this one has a decorated base.
There's a bunch of granite boxes down in there. There was this weird
Super sweaty. Yeah.
alabaster box with tube drills all over it.
It's precise work.
Yeah, it is precise work.
But it doesn't reflect the power tools.
No.
There's no undercuts.
Yeah, can't do it, but beautiful
power tools.
Yeah, actually, use of squeezing through everything down there. Like there's a lot of tunnels like that. It's actually huge. Like it took us. We were down there for like an hour and a half. There's boxes like this down in there, which I think is dynastic. I do think this is dynastic, and there's just endless of these like limestone chambers with the arch ceilings, like dozens of them, and there's at least 4 or 5 of these boxes, and you can see like it has all been carved up. There's even a pair of the eyes on it.
Yeah. Well, it'll probably.
And this looks like all dynastic work. These chambers. It's not the same as like the I think the older stuff where it's all granite work, or you have basalt, you have calcite. This is just limestone. I have a feeling this is all dynastic work. At least that's my seat of the pants thing. Is Brian in the chat? I thought Brian had a premiere on or something. I don't actually care. So I just to be clear, I don't actually care that he did that. I just thought it was funny because we were actually we were going to lunch after just having visited the Black Pyramid, and I think I'd posted that in the car on the way over, and Yusuf had noticed it. Like he's pulled it up and go, look, Brian just posted that picture from the Black Pyramid, and it was getting all these responses on Facebook, which whatever, it's fine. I mean, Brian is responsible for giving me my first look at lots of sites. He shares all of his footage online, which is awesome. Black Pyramid is far bigger than the other ones. At least what's underneath. It's all underneath. It's all in the ground. I don't think there's much in the actual body of the Black Pyramid, but I probably have footage from actually going in there. Yeah, so you see the red pyramid over here. The bent pyramid's over behind it. Well, I think you can see the bent pyramid from here too. Yeah, there's the black. And, there's obviously cemeteries. Always cemeteries.
Huh?
Did I not film going in here? I thought I did. Oh, I must have done it on this here. Yeah, they had to fire up a generator. Yeah, they do cover this up with seal this stone, so they cover up the entrance with stone to stop people from getting in here. And then when they do a special permission, they have to actually clear out all the stone. And then when we're done, they cover it up again. How often does Yusuf spot something new? It happens, yeah. I mean, we see stuff. We see new stuff all the time. He's always showing me lost YouTube for a few minutes. Let's have a look at stream health over here. Stream is healthy. It's definitely gone back and forth with errors and then stream healthy, and so I mean it is what it is. So, and here's the other thing. Like this is like obviously built for humans. So this is the other thing. Like this Black Pyramid, the entry passages, they're all human size. You can stand up in most of it. There's some where you got to like be smaller, but a lot of this is like obviously meant for humans. They put steps in them, as opposed to the other pyramids where it's like the much smaller chamber. There's no steps in them. yeah, I did have. So we did have. I did have our microphones on, so
This is the corridor that leads to what, the western entrance?
we could synchronize it and watch it on. Why don't we do a bit of that? Let's do a little bit of work here. We'll actually do some work. Let's. So I think this is like the nice tool about this is like synchronizing. You can.
Yeah, so these ears were carved out perfectly well. There's a little bit of a difference in the finish between these the stripes on the headdress. So you have the smooth surface and then a rougher surface. Say about it, it's just.
I've got a question.
Yeah.
Do you think there's a relationship between the scooping and the forming of these?
The scoop marks?
You know, the scoop machine, let's just pretend it's a machine.
Yeah.
Let's just pretend it's a machine. So yeah, we're at the Ramesseum. Looking at the thing, I think Yusuf was filming.
What to do the gilding of this one? Yeah. The thickness of it is like 2 or 3 millimeters.
No,
for each line.
It's a good question. So no, Ramsey's definitely built this. So you compare this sort of single. It's like at Luxor. Remember, there's that granite core at Luxor, and you've got those single piece granite columns, and then you have surrounding it this sandstone infrastructure that's built with chunks. Like look at all these statues behind you. Yeah, this is all sandstone. And you see how they're not single piece statues, right? They're all made from single multiple blocks of stone, and they're stacked up. So you might imagine that Ramses, when he found
how cold in those tunnels, it was hot as hell beneath the Black Pyramid. It was really hot. Like we were sweating. I was sweating a lot.
They're like, well, obviously I'm going to carve my name on it, and then I'm going to build a temple to it, and I'm going to do the best way I can to imitate it. I genuinely think that ancient Egypt, in some ways, is potentially the world's biggest cargo cult.
Okay, let's just reveal sequence in project. We shall duplicate this. Let's just call this one Black Pyramid. Walk and talk. Okay, open that up. Get rid of all that. Whoops. Let's grab. Where were we? Black Pyramid. We should have some audio. Oh, I didn't get it off my. I didn't get it off the actual audio recorders yet. I think it's still on the audio recorders. My bad. But one of the things I did find that was really cool was the synchronize ability to do synchronizing of different clips, audio and video.
Well, then they should have found a piece of wood, and they could have carbon dated it, and they would.
Strong. When you.
I haven't looked at any of this footage, by the way.
Why did they make the lid so heavy like that?
Yeah. I mean,
have I made a trip to Sage Wall? Not yet. No.
Well, it's.
To make the video larger on screen.
Like there's solidity is the main thing to me. When I look at these boxes, you think about all the things that go into their construction. It seems to me that the main, let me just 1, 2, 3. It seems to me that the main objective was solidity, right? They went to great lengths to scoop out the cracks. They scooped it and they polished it, and it seems like they were
the lower
also
levels
very
of the
interested in,
Assyrian
wall thickness. So even where, on the insides of the boxes, if they could make them perfect, they would be. But in places where it's not, they've either been removing imperfections in the stone, and then in some places, like on the insides where there's a divot.
So yeah, we did Serapeum, but I will get back to the. Let's just make that scale of frame size. So we did go to the Assyrian, and it had. I talked to the guy that had been working there. Where is it? Abydos Dendera. So yeah, we. So I went to the Assyrian, and answer is no. Basically, there's no more work has been done. The water level's about the same as where it was before. We didn't go into the Assyrian, because we didn't have that special permission on this tour. We will be doing that in March. We have the permission. But so the guy who I've been talking to the last couple of years at the Assyrian, who was telling me that they were trying to get a muck pump. They were going to pump out all of the muck that's in these, the moat around the central island. And he told me this time, he says, we're not doing any work. We have no money. He said there's literally been no funding at all, so we can't do anything. So yeah, they're just not doing anything at the Assyrian right now. And he was like, why aren't you guys doing a special permission? And I'm like, it's not on this tour. And he's like, he wants the money, probably for his pocket, because I'm sure he gets paid as part of that. But, also that I'm sure some of that funding goes towards the team actually doing stuff there. But we will be doing that in March. But yeah, no, they're not doing anything. So that's the weird thing. Like he told me it's like 22 meters depth on either end here is the deepest probing that they've got. And you can find the old pictures of this, right? Like I talked about it on a stream. There's I have the PDF on my phone. Let's have a look. Excavations at the Assyrian. Excavations at the Assyrian. PDF, the very early one. It's on. It's probably Keith. Imagine either like Keith Hamilton's paper probably has a lot of the older pictures too. What's the name? It was Pete. It was. Do you think about Land of Chem theory for some period? I don't know much about his theories. I mean, I've heard criticism of it from some like industrial chemists and stuff, but I'm not an expert, so I don't know. I mean, the only other thing I know about him is that he was, calling Chris Dunn a fraud and a liar, and I just have no interest in engaging with people who take that sort of tact. Doesn't seem like a good look, when you're so convinced that you're right that everybody else must be just lying. And everyone else is wrong. There's a lot of people like that. They're just like, I'm just 100% right, and everyone else is a fraud, a liar, or whatever, full of shit. I don't appreciate that sort of a perspective. I think this is one of those fields where there's like lots of theories. I mean, who knows if we'll ever get to the real answer? But I'm fine with people having theories, and they should pursue them. I think we should pursue all theories with as much scientific vigor and intensity as we can, and we'll figure out, like, is this true, is it not? Like, the natron theory guy or whatever, the guy who thinks everything's a geopolymer, I mean, I think that's complete nonsense, but I think he should be pursuing what his theory. Try and figure it out, like, prove it. Like, I don't think he has, but, I mean, that's the scientific method, right? You have a hypothesis. You need to come up with experiments. You need to try and verify that and see if you can turn it into a theory. That's all good. I don't know. I don't understand people that just are so convinced they're right that then therefore everybody else must just be lying or full of shit, and they're disrespectful towards other people. I don't really like that. So, not my way of doing things. And people and plenty of people have called me all sorts of names because I'm not making claims that I know how stuff was done. I'm just trying to put together what I think is the most reasonable explanation for all of the evidence and how that affects the story of civilization and our human history on this planet. But I make no claims as to knowing how stuff was done. I'm very doubtful, and I think I'm asking a lot of questions that probably show that the existing train of thought on this, primitive methods and stuff doesn't hold any water. And that's the nature of kind of what I do. And look, I don't care if people call me names and carry on. A lot of people do, but I do tend to get upset when people start calling guys like Chris Dunn, things like that, because the last thing he's ever been is disrespectful to anyone. I'm good friends with Chris. I respect him tremendously. He has no skin in the game. Like, he literally he's retired. Like, he has had his career. I think in a lot of ways he probably he probably regrets ever getting into the field because of the notoriety that it's gained him. But I think it's his curiosity and his inquisitive nature and his scientific nature that forced him to face up to some of the engineering challenges that he saw, and they led him to the logical conclusion and the places that he went to. And then he wrote his books and he did all of his work. But his career was never in this. He was a machinist. He was a manufacturing expert. I mean, he had that was his career. Like, this stuff wasn't his career. He wasn't trying to make a name for himself and anything like that. And then, I mean, the guy's been a gentleman. Like, he is a gentleman. Like, and then so people that start calling him names and stuff like that, I mean, I ain't got no time for that, you know? So that's not, when people do that, and there's a few people that have, again, it's not, I don't mind them coming at me. I understand the way the internet works, you know? I've been on the internet a long time. You're not going to hurt my feelings. It's okay. But people like that and Chris, I'm like, all right. Yeah, so they sort of get on a list of mine where it's just like, you do what you do, but I'll never promote you. I'll never really talk about you. I don't want anything to do with you. So there's a couple of people on that list, and it's not worth talking about. But yeah. Something positive needs to be said. You have become such a good presenter. Thank you, sir. Sim racing. Hey, look at that. Hey, look at this thing. There's a little sim rig back here like this. I got gifted the Quest 3 for Christmas, and it was quite an unexpected gift. And oh my God, do I enjoy... thank you for the biddies, Dub Selector. I enjoy sim racing in VR. That's quite impressive. Let's find this damn... So here, it wasn't Petrie, it was... Petrie started it, but then it was Margaret Murray and... Who else was it? Margaret Murray. And it was another dude. Oh, fuck off. Show me the pictures. Well, this is Margaret Murray's book, so maybe there's pictures at the end here. Let's see. Oh man, it's gonna take forever to download, isn't it? Okay, well, look. End of the the long story short is that you can find the old pictures. You can find, it's not Margaret Murray's publication. It was I have it right here. Okay, well, I'm gonna find it for you. Where is it? Keep notes. I was talking about this in my thing. It is Edward Neville, 1912. Edward Neville, PDF Neville. So for sure, Keith Hamilton's guide will have it. Why can't I see this PDF here? I have it on my phone. I mean, I have the actual PDF. But the pictures in Neville's work show you, because I think it was a very low like water year, so that the actual the water level had dropped quite a bit. So when they were excavating, like you can see these pictures here, you could see the lower levels and the lower blocks down quite a bit. But they've always had trouble plumbing the depth of the Osirion. Like, it's just because it's on this aquifer and there's water pressure that comes up and pushes up. So yeah, of course, Keith does amazing work. I'm friends with Keith. Like, I do converse with Keith quite a bit. But if you want a detailed look at the Osirion, or the bent pyramid, the red pyramid, he's done some fantastic work on all of these. Let's find this old picture. I'm sure it's in here somewhere. He probably lifted it from the... Yeah, so here, for example, is the Like here's the stairs going down. So the water level's usually like at the second level here. But you see the stairs do come a long way down. And then, here it is again. So with the water level, so this is the canals without the water in them. So you see there's just blocks that go down. But, it's full of dirt. Like, that's the thing. People think that, right, so the water level's usually up beneath this door. But you can see, and this is the central island on the left, and it's this granite structure, and it keeps going down. And you get down, this is as low as the water level's really ever been. But it's full of sediment. It's like mud. It's muck and mud. So they have to push through it with these sticks to try and figure out the depth. It's not like it's just clean water. So they need like a muck pump to come in here and really muck and take that out. Plus, it's been full of debris. They've slowly been working on getting the debris out of there. All of the blocks, like there's from all the quarrying activity, there's just chunks of these blocks. You see these big lentil blocks that were spanning the rooftops. Like a lot of this stuff's been quarried and there's fragments of it all around there. So, these beams, like you said here, total weight. Some of these beams are 120 tons individually. So that's, there's some big blocks, some big granite beams on this thing. So anyway, there is also, there's a lot of details to the Assyrian. Have you done any more talking to History for Granite? I have not really talked. I know him. I don't know him. I've swapped some emails with him. I'm a fan of his channel. I haven't looked at his latest couple of videos, but I mean, he gets huge traction on his channels. It's great. He does some really super in-depth research. I think he does good stuff. So the water level must have been low or restrained somehow for them to build it originally. Yeah, they must have done something. I don't know how, but yeah, they must have done something to build those things originally. Yes, Aziz, light. I need that on the soundboard, actually. I do need Aziz, light. Thank you, Aziz. Is Mr. Hua still in charge of it at all? I don't know. No, he's not. Technically, no. He is not. He'd retired several years ago in terms of the active head of the Department of Antiquities. However, he remains a very powerful figure. And, he has a lot of say. He can do whatever he wants kind of deal. Like, he still has the power to ban people, to fire people somehow. He's still very powerful. Like, he's just not running the Department of Antiquities anymore. I mean, he fired the guy that was running it. The guy that was Waziri, who dug that hole in front of the third pyramid. If you remember, I think it was it this year? Early this year? Or maybe late last year? No, it was early. I think it was right at the beginning of 24 that, Waziri had dug that hole in front of the third pyramid. I have a video of it somewhere. God, I don't even know if I can find it. This is always a challenge, finding stuff like this. 2024 edits. Might be in here somewhere. I have no idea what this stuff is. Okay, that's Kyle. Oh, here it is. Yeah, so it was this. So this is the guy here that he got fired. But yeah, so this is the third pyramid, right? And look at what happens when you dig. This is the regular ground level. Like, look at the size of these goddamn blocks they're getting down to. Huge. Menkaura pyramid. I actually met him. I met him in an airport. Mo introduced us, and I had a little chat. Nice guy. He was also responsible for opening up a lot of sites to special permissions, letting people in. I'm a fan of this. Like, dig this damn thing up. Like, expose the bedrock. Like, I'd love to see the interface between the pyramid and the bedrock, and to see what the tiling, what's at the ground level, what do its corners look like, all that sort of stuff. Because it's weird that you won't...
What money? Somebody's going to send me money, old boy!
Doobie Ebron just resubscribed for 41 months.
Thank you very much, sir.
41 months
for a gentleman and a
Happy
scholar.
New Year.
Thought a jet was taking off. Yeah, and then So I was all for this. But however, they filled this hole in again. Like I knew this. I saw this video came out. It was like a week before I was going to Egypt, and I was like, yeah, I'm going to get to see it. And then they filled the hole in again. Damn it. But he was also talking about rebuilding the pyramid. So he was like, oh, we're going to take all these granite stones and put it all back together, which was a terrible idea. Just absolutely terrible idea. And people reacted that way. They're like, oh, bullshit you are. Like, everyone was outraged by it because, like, look, the way the Egyptians reconstruct stuff is with concrete. Like, they don't, it's never going to be there. You couldn't put it back together originally how it was. You know, even if you mapped all the stones, you tried to figure it out, you might be able to put a few stones back pretty close to where they originally were, but I just don't think you're ever doing it. And you know how they'll do it is they'll just concrete stuff in, and it'll be this facsimile of what it once was. It won't be like the original. It'll be this made-up thing. And they're doing this to statues constantly. They're restoring all these statues. They're making concrete statues and they're putting bits back into them. I don't like it. I think, obviously it does for the average tourist. It probably makes them look a lot grander. The temple's got these giant statues now again, but it's like the statues they're not like the originals. They're facsimiles of them. They're fakes, and so some pieces from the original. And if you look closely, or even not even very closely, you can see the obvious difference between those immaculate granite original parts and then this concrete sort of modern stuff, which is not very accurate and not anywhere near as good in terms of quality. And I just don't like that. I think it'd be better off letting us use our imagination. I'd prefer we didn't just fake it to make it look good again. My opinion. My other concern with that sort of stuff, particularly when you look at things like Luxor. So if we look at Luxor Temple, where is it? We went to Luxor Temple. So, here, for example, so these are all concrete. Like, this is concrete. This is the head. So this is all concrete. This body of this statue here, and the head's original. The head used to sit down here, and you can kind of see it. So see, even the headdresses, that's concrete. The head's original, like little pieces here and there, and this is all concrete. The problem, and this is mostly concrete over here too. Like, this is mostly all concrete. Here's the other problem with this, apart from it being a facsimile of the original, is what happens in 50 or 60 years. Because if you go and look at the work that they've done on the pyramids and all of that area around the pyramid, all of the modern work that they use with concrete and tile, and it's falling apart. It's literally 50, 60 years old now, a lot of the stuff they've done there, and it's literally falling apart. Like, it just doesn't last. Just whatever craftsmen they use, whatever in the environment, it just falls apart. So eventually, it's probably not going to happen for several decades, maybe even 100 years. I don't know. But eventually, this statue is going to fall apart again. Like, it won't even take that long in the grand scheme of time. And then what's going to happen? That head is going to fall down again. And it's going to hit the ground. It could hit this concrete block. It could hit other parts of the statue. And it might break further. Like, that's my concern, is like, that head is priceless. Like, that's the head that Chris Dunn showed to be symmetrical. It needs further study. But it's like, it's 30 feet up in the air. You can't look at it. You can't get close to it. And I just feel like when this statue eventually breaks down, and as it will, and falls apart, then this priceless thing, this timeless, priceless thing could just get broken further. Because it's now at risk, because eventually in 100 or whatever, how long it's going to take, it's going to fall down. Now, I know that sounds silly right now because they've just done this work, but all you have to do is look at the other concrete work that they've done around the pyramids and around in other places, and it's fallen apart. Like, the stuff that happened, 50 to 100 years ago is literally falling apart today. So, Sam Fibro, dude, thank you so much for the $1 or the pound. I appreciate it. Yeah, need some Roman concrete, indeed. Yeah, I mean, Hawass gives off a certain vibe, doesn't he? Heiko, yeah, I get it. If you were told in plain speech how, let's just let this run for a minute. Did they hire the Chinese to do it? No, they definitely didn't. Graham and Zaid made their peace with each other. Yeah. Well, I never finished that story about Waziri. So when Waziri was talking about rebuilding the third pyramid, there was an international outcry, and then it was decided that there would be a tribunal put together to decide what to do about it, and that tribunal was headed by Zahi Hawass. And the end result of that tribunal was to fire Waziri. That's what happened. So he lost his job over it. And then the guy who replaced him didn't stay in the position for long because Waziri was kind of the new age. He was a bit more open. I think he's like, he doesn't care so much. Like, say, he's not going to ever, I don't ever feel at risk for Egypt because ultimately I'm bringing people to Egypt. We're not breaking the rules. We're not presenting. We follow the rules in terms of we have the tour guides who give the Orthodox perspective. I think the Orthodox dynastic perspective is important to know. And a lot of it's correct. A lot of it they do. We know that those are the kings who lived here. Like that's the dynastic history happened. But, that it's the part that I disagree with is the attribution of everything to them. Obviously, we're going to, and that's what Yusuf and I do on these tours, is show you a different perspective and show you the evidence for that perspective firsthand, like he's doing right here, talking about the features of this statue. But we have the tour guides, we follow all the rules, so I don't feel like I'm ever at risk of being banned or anything like that, because I'm bringing people to Egypt, and then ultimately the guys running the tourism, the antiquities department, that's what they want. They're trying to make money with tourism, so guys like Waziri don't really care. He's like, whatever. They just don't want like the crazy crystal hippies coming in and meditating on the sites and scaring people away with their wailing over Sekhmet statues and shit like that. So with us, we're just, we're like interested in rocks. So it's fine. So the guy that replaced him was a bit more of that school of thought too. He was a bit more open. He's like, let's open up more sites. Let's make them special permissions. If people want to pay thousands of dollars to go see the Black Pyramid, then you can do it. And this was never available before. Same as like the Osiris shaft under Waziri, never available before. So it's nice when these things come up and you can get some people together who want to, each pay a bit so everyone gets to experience it. You do it. Anyway, that guy didn't stay in the job for very long either. So I've forgotten the name of the guy who's in charge of the antiquities department now. But all of these people are basically Hawass's students, his old students from back when he was in charge and teaching. And the guy who's in charge now is a bit more from the Zahi school, if you like. So he's a bit more closed-minded, wants to lock stuff up, wants to close sites down, wants to restrict access to them. So we'll see how that goes. I don't know exactly what's going to happen there.
Tried to imitate this kind of work. They didn't succeed.
What's your thought on the young ponytail guy? He's now got short hair. What young? Who are you talking about? Who's the young ponytail guy? I've been thinking about cutting my hair off at some point, and I'm neither young, nor do I have short hair right now. But who is the young? Do you mean? Oh, Kyle. Oh, the young ponytail guy's now got short hair. Kyle's amazing. Yeah. No, Jimmy Corsetti. No, Jimmy never. He never had a ponytail, as far as I know. Or maybe is it Mini Minuteman? Whatever his name is, Milo. Automan, dude. Thank you so much for the $10. Love what you're doing. Egypt trip with you and Yusuf, definitely on your bucket list. Cheers, man.
Thank you very much, sir. You're a gentleman and a scholar.
He's done a lot of Egyptian stuff. You might be talking about. Please do not cut your hair. Thank you, Trish. Yeah, I'm too lazy to do it. Kyle's awesome. Mini Minuteman, not so much. Look, he's very popular. I think a lot of people point to him as like, oh, he's debunking Hancock. It's the same sort of. Honestly, I've watched some of his stuff. It's the same nonsense fallacies that he uses the same tired old arguments that get trotted out endlessly. In my opinion, I haven't watched his stuff extensively. I have no interest in it. I don't think he's got any real perspective on any.
Rock science, rocket science, potato.
Friendly, yes. Rock science, rocket science, potato. Yes, indeed. Thanks, man. Good use of the biddies, the old text-to-speech. Yeah, I don't think he's got anything to offer as far as the engineering or mechanical side of things. I mean, he got kind of called out for calling himself an archaeologist, whatever. Dedunking Dan's engaged with him a bit. From what I've seen, and by no means is this exhaustive, I don't think his arguments against Hancock hold any real weight whatsoever. He probably makes a few good points here and there, but mostly it's just the same set of logical fallacies that get used against Hancock, misrepresentations and things like that. I don't have a lot of opinions beyond that, to be honest. I don't think he's got, again, and it's like people ask, why don't you try and debate Flint Dibble on the vases? I mean, what would be the point of that? It's like guys like that too, like whoever, Milo or fucking David Miano or whatever. I mean, they don't have anything to offer for that. Like, they don't have the background, they don't have the expertise. They don't have anything to offer as far as engineering goes. Like, they're not the people you should be listening to about these topics. I think they'll argue against them till their faces go blue because they don't like what it means for that orthodox story. Like, they don't like the conclusions you have to draw if you accept the evidence. So they desperately cast around trying to find other ways to explain it without having any expertise whatsoever in those mechanical or engineering fields. And guys like Flint Dibble, I mean, he went on Danny Jones and, Danny challenged him on it, and he literally said, oh, no, they just did this with a stick. There's that gif of him doing this. Oh, they just, got a stick and they rubbed it in the center, and that's how you make the vases. It's easy. That's what you'll get. Like, there's literally, you'd spend the whole time talking past each other. Like, he'd just say it's bullshit and you can do it. And I would say, no, you can't. No one's ever proven it. And there's all these technical challenges. He's going to ignore everything technical about it. They're not going to address any of those things. And he's never going to acknowledge or even understand the points that you're making to any degree because they don't want to. And they'll just continue to make those claims. There's really no point in debating. It's like that until some of those guys actually address the technological and actual technical details of the arguments. There's no point in trying to debate those guys. I mean, Dennis Stocks would be interesting, but Dennis Stocks runs away from it. Like, I put that in my last video with Chris. I love Chris Dunn's story about it, where as soon as Dennis gets challenged about, does your call look anything like Petrie's call number 7, he just turns around and walks away. He doesn't. He did his work. He put his piece out there saying, and I exposed it all in all my videos, right? It's like they literally just make the claim that all the groove, that there's no spiral groove on these things. It's just all circular. It's like, it's literally saying the sun rises in the west. It's the equivalent of that. They just make these claims and go, that's what it is, end of story. And it's just not true. I don't know how else to explain it. I mean, I spend a lot of time trying to expose it, but unfortunately, until some of these guys develop an open mind and they can actually acknowledge it. And by the way, this is also interesting. I'll put this on while I sit here and rant about this for a minute. But I know personally, and I can't reveal, and I won't. It's just an anecdotal story, right? I know that some of the people that are critical of things like the VaseScan project have admitted, some of the most vocal critics of it have admitted that there's something there. They've admitted, yes, you can't really explain this, that there's something to it. Like, it is astonishing. But they've also at the same time said they could never talk about it because they would risk losing their audience or pissing off their audience. So take that for what you want. I mean, because there have been people involved in the VaseScan project that aren't particularly public figures that have engaged with some of these characters on both sides of this debate, and that information has come out. Like, and it's been told to me privately. So, I mean, I'm not going to name names or out anyone in particular, but I know that's happened. I think there's a lot of that going on, People probably accuse me of saying that. Look, but if at the end of I've said this since day one too, like, if at the end of the day I get proven entirely wrong in all I'm giving you is my perspective on what I think is the most logical and best case or best fit perspective that incorporates all of the evidence, right? Which I still to this day believe. I think that there was a significantly advanced civilization here that is responsible for a lot of the stuff we see, and I think that has all sorts of impacts for us as a species and what it means to be human. Blah 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 blah. But I think that's the best explanation for the evidence and all of the evidence that we see, including things like carbon dating and all that other stuff. However, if something gets discovered and we figure it out, you know what? It was the dynastic Egyptians. There was them all along. If that happens and I get proven completely wrong, that's fine. If it means we get closer to the truth, that's fine. Like that's what I want. I want us to investigate these things with as much scientific capability that we have. Like, I think we should. You can't just dismiss the idea. You know, I think we should be investigating it to try and learn what it means and what the truth is. Now, I don't think that's going to happen. Like, I don't think we're going to come to that conclusion. That's one of the two possible conclusions, right? I think there's really only two answers for this stuff. It's either the dynastic Egyptians did it or they didn't do it. It's pretty simple at the end of the day when we're talking about Egypt. But I think, you know, I don't think they did. There's just too many similarities between Egypt and Peru, and there's the tale of two industries. There's all of the pre-dynastic stuff. There's this vast discrepancy in technological data. That we found the tools and techniques that the Egyptians used and that what they wrote on the walls, and none of it explains the high-tech stuff, but you have all of the artifacts and things that it does explain. You have places like here in Luxor with one of my favorite examples of the tale of two industries right here, which I'm hopefully Yusuf, whoever's using the camera, turns around and actually shows, which is, you know, these single-piece granite pillars right next to the sandstone multi-piece imitation pillars, all of that stuff. I just think that, you know, I truly do think that's where the evidence is leading. Plus, you have all the cultural evidence. You have like the Hamlet's Mill stuff. You have the extension of the human timeline. You have all of the genetic studies, the DNA study. Everything's pointing towards this. You have Cataclysm. You have the Younger Dryas. It all points to this older, you know, lost civilization. Something happened that was way more complex in the past, and those people were wiped out. I mean, all of these sites are unfinished. You know, something made everyone go tools down at some point. I think that could have the impact of that being acknowledged could have significant impact on us as a species, and I think it's very important that that happens at some point. But it's either that or, you know, the dynastics did it. So it's one of those two things. Either case, I think in either case, we're looking at it, we need to rewrite history, but I strongly believe that the evidence is leaning one way, right? I think it's leaning towards the a lost ancient civilization that had some significant capabilities. Let's see. I was rant over. I know I was probably ranting quite a bit there. I don't know what we're filming here. I have my little microphone on here, so this can be a walk and talk video at some point too. If Chris Dunn's theory of wireless energy transfer used anywhere, you're 90% on the side of inherited by the dynastic Egyptians. Yeah. Yeah, and it's complex, right? I mean, end of the day, we are looking at evidence that's gone through thousands of years of civilization under. Anyway, this pause is great. Yusuf is like when you listen to the Egyptologist's explanation of history. Yeah. Poznansky was right. I think Poznansky was right, yeah. I mean, it's just, I'm fascinated by this, right? There are so many different aspects with all of this. Argue with the scientific evidence. I mean, that's pretty much what I do on my channel. I try to, like, a lot. You go look at like the saw cuts or the tube drills. I mean, I deep dive into what is the scientific evidence in the mainstream, at least, that is supposedly explaining this stuff, and then I think show where that falls short here and there. Don't worry, Ben. I'm going to make millions of dollars next year and fund a bunch of research. Awesome. Speaking of that, I mean, we may find ourselves in the next, potentially the next 12 months, potentially with opportunities for actual field work, not just scanning either. Like there's some things on the move in this world at the moment that are very interesting, very promising. So even things as potentially to the point of like even excavations and stuff, things are possible. So we'll see. And if it ever gets to that point, then one of my roles may be to try and organize things like crowdfunding of people, and then also participation. People that wanted to fund could actually come and participate in some of this work. Would be the long-term goal of some of this. But it's happening. There's a non-profit that's been put together, and stand by, basically. I do need to do a Vase video and update everyone on the details, so it is interesting. What did they say the schist disc is? They say it's a decorative vase. Yeah, I'm sure Caroly's work's getting wrapped up into the Vase Scan project. And he's the kind of guy we need investigating this stuff, right? He's an engineer. I mean, he literally understands that technology. He uses it. He's learnt how to do it. We were in Egypt doing a lot of this stuff just a week ago. So, do I think the answer is out there? Possibly. I mean, definitively, I don't know. I mean, I don't know if we'll ever get. I mean, it's just we're literally trying to look at the oldest parts of history as we know it. The oldest parts of the history of civilization as we know it, and it's very murky. I think eventually there'll be enough of a, and this may take another generation yet, but I think there is enough evidence for it's building. I think enough people will. It's going to force a reevaluation of what we would consider mainstream history. Look, at the end of the day, I don't even know if I need that guy. Like, people are always trying to convince the academics about this stuff. I'm not even sure I need them, honestly. I think a lot of this these days you can work around those sort of John Hoops and Flint Dibbles. I think it's one of the reasons they get so pissed off about everything is the fact that they see that happening. They see that they're no longer the gatekeepers to this information. They're not the arbiters of truth when it comes to this stuff. People are able to be presented with differing perspectives on what we're seeing, and they can make up their own minds, and that's happening. And I think they see that they're losing that fight, and that's what's really causing them to lash. One of the reasons why they lash out so hard against guys like Graham Hancock, Ancient Apocalypse, and they go berserk about this stuff, and they're trying to figure out how to engage in the new media world on podcasts and whatever, right? It's only going to get more and more intense like that. There's going to be more and more cringe archaeologists trying to do podcasts. There's already a bunch of them that do it, but no one really watches it, right? I mean, Dan from Debunking does, because I think that's his job's to react to it. So he goes out and makes some fun of what the shit they say. But there's plenty of these archaeologists get together and,
you can almost hear the snorts of derision.
They snort in derision a lot. And like, Graham Hancock, stupid alien-believing pseudo-archaeologist. And they just do all the same shit, come up with the same stupid arguments, use the same ad hominems, the same misrepresentations, and they're trying to do it in this new media format, right? They're losing it, and they just ignore all the actual evidence and whatever. So, but that's one of the reasons they're I think trying to do that is because they see that the nature of the discussion as it relates particularly to the general public has shifted. Like, I don't think they're losing a bit of credibility. Or maybe it's like other people and independent researchers are gaining credibility, in the eyes of the public. And that's not something they want to happen, right? This is like they want to be it's like priests in a religion. They want to be the experts on it, right? They must be the arbiters of truth, and that's been their position forever, and they're going to try and defend it. And that's the fight that they're in now. So what are you going to do? So for me, I mean, I'm not, I don't care. I'm not interested in, I'm not doing reaction content. I'm not doing what Dan does.
What money? Somebody's going to send me money, oh
Thunder
boy!
Spanner, man.
Thun3span3
Thank you very
are
much,
just
sir.
3 subscribed
You're a gentleman
for 2
and a
months.
scholar.
Unchar7 hype, Unchar7 hype.
Hype. Thank you for the 2 months, dude. Cheers. So I'm not doing the reaction content type of stuff. Like I'm not particularly interested in that. Again, for the reasons I explained already, where I don't think it's worth debating some of these people on these topics. What I like to do is I stay in my lane, I do my research, and yeah, I am criticizing kind of the overall mainstream perspective, and I definitely have made pointed criticisms about certain things people have said here and there. Typically, I'm only talking about Hawass and like the highest, the pointy end of that establishment field that are making claims, like Dennis Stocks, guys that have published on these topics. I'm not trying to pick apart podcasts or whatever. And I don't really have an interest in doing that stuff. And I mean, people love to watch the back and forth and the endless reaction content. And this guy tweeted, so I'm going to make a 45-minute video about his tweet. Whatever. I don't care. That's not how I do things. I just prefer to do my research. Make my content, put my words out there, and then people can make up their own mind. So my role in it's like I'm not trying to convince the academics. I don't feel like I really need them. So, a lot of people trying to write scientific papers, and I think the Vase Scan project's a good example of where, just on the precision, forget what it means, just the pure measurements alone is probably sufficient at this point for a peer-reviewed scientific paper, potentially in like an engineering journal, not really even in an archaeological one. And that's great. But it's like, I don't think my name should be on it. I can work and participate and help the people that do it, but I think putting my name on it just makes it more difficult because I'm like one of these crazy internet people that thinks that, there was an ancient civilization and whatever. My name gets bandied around like Graham, I'm one of Graham Hancock's disciples or whatever, So, and I don't need it. Like, I don't care. I honestly don't. The academics can do what they want. I'm not in that world. I'm in the YouTube world. I'm in the public opinion world. It's a different world. So, yeah, I'm not trying to fight them that hard. Shame on you, huh?
Shame on you!
It's not easy to admit you were wrong after spending 50 years telling a story. Yeah, there's a lot of reasons why they're so grumpy about it. It's threatening, I think.
What money? Somebody's going to send me money, oh boy!
Q Braggle just resubscribed for 20 months. Cheers.
Dude, thank you so much for the 20 months, Kubergol.
Thank you very much, sir. You're a gentleman and a scholar.
Ben, have you seen the Vanna paper showing large-scale depopulation of the entire Nile Valley Fort in KA? I haven't. I haven't seen that. Send me an email if you don't mind. info@unchartedx.com and send that to me if you can, or I'll try and remember and look it up afterwards. The academics don't need convincing; they're stuck in their ways. Well, look, I do think that it's generational too. I do get emails occasionally from students and people that are going to be the academics of tomorrow, and I think they're being forced to deal with some of the evidence that are raised by the Chris Dunns and the Graham Hancocks, etc., in the world. And I'd like to think that maybe that'll engender a bit more open-minded approach to some of these problems. Because at the end of the day, I just think we should be. My goal and my wish for the academic side of this is for archaeology to become much more multidisciplinary than it currently is. Now, it is a little disciplined. It's not like they only listen to themselves. They obviously, they do use geologists and chemists sometimes. Like when the results match what they want them to say. When you have geologists like Robert Schoch that make claims about the Sphinx, then they get laughed out of the room, stuff like that. Or Danny Hillman Nadawajaja, who's a geologist, and he was talking about Gunung Padang, and they snorts of derision.
You can almost hear the snorts of derision
again. But if the geologists agree with them, then they're happy to use that input, right? But I do think that archaeology should be a bit more all-encompassing in terms of engineering and science and chemistry and I think those inputs, it needs to be more multidisciplinary. Now, things like Scan Pyramids Project are very exciting, right? That's like news. That's the sort of thing we should be doing. We're embracing new technologies and science to investigate these ancient mysteries. That's what I hope eventually happens, and that I hope that these questions do get embraced with open minds too. Like, that's the other problem, is like, that's why it's literally in the revelation of the pyramids, when they were talking about the vases, they had like the curator of the Louvre, and she was saying, we've never made a study into the manufacturing of these vessels. We don't care about that. We care about what's written on them or what was in them. They don't care about it. No one's ever measured all of the Serapeum boxes or done significant studies in the mainstream as to how they were made, because they think, they just go, well, they had copper chisels and pounding stones, bro. Obviously that's how they were made. You know? This is coming from positions of ignorance too. Like, they have no understanding of the manufacturing or the mechanical aspects of what they're saying. But they close their minds off to that possibility. So, you know, I hope for two things. One is that the minds get opened up, and that these possibilities, even as wild as some of them might be, do get investigated, and that it becomes more multidisciplinary, and we do actually leverage our scientific and technological capability to do that investigation. Because I think that's the only way we'll get to an answer. And we might even learn something. You never know, you know. Maybe we'll learn some shit. Teach ourselves something. Figure something out. And so we're trying to make that happen. Like, we're trying to do things. The vase scan project's a big thing. We're using scanning electron microscopy to look at these fragments to try and gain an insight. I don't think anyone's ever done that. As far as I know, like, you know, we're doing, like, no one's ever, like, I can tell you for sure, no one's ever done the sort of things we were doing in Egypt a week ago. The data that's been collected over the last few days that we were in Egypt on some of those artifacts there, and that's never been done. No one's ever done that. And, you know, it's some world first shit. It's great. And hopefully, the problem is that one of the honestly, one of the issues is that we have to do it semi-guerrilla style. Like, we're trying to get to a point where we can, where these questions and this data can be collected legitimately, where we can actually talk about it, because it's still not, I mean, you know, we've got the data, we did some stuff, but it's like we were definitely causing some angst. You know, that we had to do special permissions and things, and it cost many thousands of dollars for the guy who funded it all. But it's still not, it's so stupid that we have to, like, you have to be on the download to try and do science. You know what I'm saying? Like, it is actually, I remember me and Russ were like in the Serapeum, and, you know, they've more so than me, the Snake Bros have been like really mapping the Serapeum. Like, individually, like what box, what alcove, notes on that box, like trying to look on the inside, outside of all of them. Footage, photos, notes, you know, just information. No one's ever done that sort of stuff. No one's ever done that. But we were like, we're in the alcove, you know, and you're fucking sneaking around because you've got to wait, and the keeper's over there, and they don't want you to touch and look. It's like, I remember we had this moment, we're looking at each other like, it's fucking ridiculous that we have to be so sneaky to try and just do science. Like, literally to collect data that no one's ever collected before. You know, there's no purpose, no fucking foreshadowed conclusion in mind. Whatever the data says, that's what it says. But it does feel kind of ridiculous that it's so hard to actually do any science, because there's no interest from the people who... There's really no interest from the people who have all of the ability to do that work, to do it. Right? There's someone that runs that... Someone's got the keys and they control the Serapeum. They could go and scan all the boxes. It's completely harmless. You could go in there at 7 o'clock every night, work till midnight. For a couple of weeks, you could get immaculate scans of all this stuff. I'm sure you could have somebody fund it for you. You could explore the tunnel that goes off at the end of the Serapeum. We don't know where to. You could fucking send a little drone down there or something. Or, God knows, pull the rocks out of there and go in there yourself. I mean, there's so much that could just simply be done, but there's just no interest to do it. It drives me bananas, honestly. Yeah, the DNA test for elongated skulls, great example. No, we don't want to rock the boat. So, Snake Bro's a scientist now. I thought maybe it was the actual scientist. I don't know if they're actual scientists. I'm an actual scientist. For whatever that's worth. An actual computer scientist. If the bar is having a Bachelor of Science degree, I got one. And it's a tongue-in-cheek. Obviously, it's stupid, right? I'm not a scientist. I mean, I don't practice science. I mean, I'm not a practicing fucking scientist. But I have the degree. For whatever it's worth. It's stupid. Yeah. Yeah. But hey, man, I've been playing with scanning electron microscopes and stuff like that recently, so I don't know. I'm certainly working with actual scientists. Anyway. Okay. I've just been ranting. I've missed streaming, to be honest. I have just been ranting for 2 hours, and we've not done any work, which was the intent here, was to do some work and share some of this. Yes.
I'm a scientist.
Yeah. Yeah. Indeed. He's a scientist, bro. Get your white coat on, Ben. Pseudo. Yes, that's right. I'm a pseudo-scientist. That is me. Thorium is easy to render into a nuke. Okay. Sounds like chat's having an interesting talk about thorium. Not a rant. If you come up with a hypothesis and test it utilizing the SEM, you are a scientist. Well, we did that. We definitely did that. We haven't conclusively tested it yet. However, some interesting things happening on that front too. But I can't give all the secret squirrel stuff away just yet. But there's interesting stuff happening, is what I would say. There is some really interesting stuff happening. So. Yes, all right. One that doesn't believe in radar. That's right.
Because I don't believe in radar.
Because he doesn't believe in radar. What's that? I need to find the other clip. The archaeology is different. Archaeology is science. Where is it? It's actually... It's in StreamWav, isn't it? Here it is. Yeah.
But now, archaeology is completely different. But now, archaeology is completely different. Archaeology is science.
Science. I love how he says science. It's science. It's great. Yeah. Genuine pseudoscientist with a certificate of ignorance. That's me, yes. I definitely have a certificate of ignorance. I'm going to do you a favor. I'll take some of the boxes out. Oh, wait. I'm capable of doing that without destroying. Yeah, I wish they would. Yeah. I think, honestly, I think some of those Serapeum boxes would be in the the museum if they could get the damn things out. I mean, if they really wanted to, I'm sure they could, you know. I think we could. But I think it's just they just went too hard and said nay. So, all right, where I actually wanted to get to today, what I've been meaning to work on as the next video, as kind of a layup, I wanted to do, because I have this great recording, and I'm just going to give you a little preview of this and wait for this ad break on Twitch to end. A sumo scientist, yes. Well, I seem...
Agfa__ just gifted 1 subs.
Agfa, dude, thank you so much for the gifted sub. Much appreciated.
Thank you very much, sir.
Tell you what, if
You're
I
a
get
gentleman
any fatter,
and a
I'll be
scholar.
the sumo scientist. So, how about that? Yes, my my weight has been steady, if too heavy, for some time, and I that's one of those trends that needs to go in the other direction. But man, if I wanted to, I could. I'm starting to get to sumo territory if I keep getting bigger, which hopefully I won't. But whatever. So I have this clip. And this is, I'll end with this. I want to share with you a little bit about this, because this, I think, is the next one. So we're at Dendera, and down in the crypts there are the light bulbs, and we had our professor with us, Professor Muhammad. Oh God, I always forget his last name. Anyway, he's probably top dude in Egypt for reading hieroglyphs. Starts with an F. Fuck, why do I keep forgetting it? I just had a mind blank. I know his name. terrible of me to forget it. But he's probably top couple in the world for reading hieroglyphs. So I just wanted to play a bit of this because I think he reads and gives you the right context to understand what the Dendera light bulbs are.
We put on top of it. Yeah.
Standing behind you to film this.
There are two different materials.
Are you filming then?
We have.
It's fine. Yeah, it's fine.
We have. جد مدوقين حور سمتوي. ها؟ نتر ع حريقي بإيونت.
Same here.
عاوي. حا.
بس خلينا نبدأ هنا الأول.
اوكي.
ده المنظر اللي بيوصف الأول.
So these are the light bulbs in the crypt at Dendera.
حور سمتوي. نتر ع حريقي بإيونت. با عن بري نخب. يبقى هو إيه؟ هو هنا أهو شايف؟
بري اللي هو دي بالصعود صعود وخروجه.
لا بري الخارج من
No, it's not that.
The one, okay, the word, the chant is being said by Hur Samatawi. This is the name of the deity who is all this scene is talking about. The birth of Hur Samatawi, the son of Horus and Hathor. I don't believe you have a signal down here. How can you have a signal down here? Nitra, the high divine, Hiriib, the one that settles or lives.
Yeah, it's something like that. I don't know why I'm blanking so
you
hard.
can see the administrative sign here. And the city of Ionit, which is.
Yeah, the lighting's terrible down here. Anyway, so this is the thing. I'm not going to, we can sit here, it's going to take, 42? It's like 15 minutes, 20 minutes long, the explanation. But it's actually a really interesting explanation. And I think it would make for a good video. And also the other thing that turns out, what they're telling you is that there was a 3-dimensional version of this thing in this crypt that was like 4 or 5 feet long that was pretty much made from gold, I think. Like this big gold 3-dimensional light bulb being held up by a jed pillar coming out of like the lotus flower with the snake in it. So they actually talk about it in these glyphs. They say that there was, like it was the length of an arm or whatever, that there was this gold 3D version, like, so the real thing was down there, like it was actually down there. Yeah, there's some interesting data that comes out from this little translation aspect. Yeah, so Muhammad, the professor here, he's an inspector. He was actually the inspector for a long time at the temple of Jehoti, of Thoth, the god of wisdom. And so over the years where he's been there, he's actually decoded. He wrote a book. Him and his fellow inspectors, they spent a lot of their time. They actually decoded what was on all the walls. Nobody had ever done this before. No Egyptologist or anything. He decoded it, wrote a book about it, and then he took it to the ministry saying, "Look what we did." And then they got mad, and they actually took his book and destroyed it, and took all the copies of it, because they were like, "Oh, you know, this isn't your job to do that." I mean, that's sort of their mentality. He literally decoded what was on the walls of this temple over years and wrote it all down. And they destroyed it because they didn't want him like getting popular and doing that sort of thing. And he's literally probably the best dude in Egypt, if not top couple in the world for reading hieroglyphs. He can just read them. Like he's amazing to have. We bring him on these tours, and we normally have him in the Cairo area, but it was really cool this time to bring him to Upper Egypt because there's a lot more of these hieroglyphs and stuff there. So getting him to sections like this where he can actually explain to you what is written around these, what are these things. How are they explained? What do they mean? Yeah, this is pretty cool. It's not Muhammad Ibrahim. No. Muhammad Ibrahim's, that's not him. It's fuck me. Muhammad Fayez or... Oh, it's Muhammad Jabra. It's Professor Muhammad Jabra. Jabra, fuck me. What? It's not F. It's Muhammad Jabra. Yeah, Professor Jabra. And he's, like I said, he was an inspector, and I'll talk a bit about him in the video. But finally, my little beaver dam in my brain unclogged. Lucky me, right? Are you wanting to learn hieroglyphs? No, no. I have back there. I've got a copy of Budge's hieroglyphic dictionary, 2 volumes. I bought them at the bookstore in Luxor. Useful for looking up symbols. But it's literally the study of a lifetime. It's so fucking complicated. Like learning hieroglyphs is I just don't have the time or the interest, frankly, to learn it. And I can travel with guys like Yusuf, and like Yusuf's pretty good. Like I've seen him get a lot better over the years because Jabra's been teaching him. But Jabra can like literally like sit there and read hieroglyphs, and so having someone like that, I mean, I don't need to learn it, and I just don't have the time. It would take a lifetime. It's such a complicated thing to learn, because you can read from left to right, from right to left, from down to up, from up to down. It can change depending on where the central symbol is. Demonstrative signs change the meaning of other signs. There's thousands of combinations. It's super complicated. Super complicated. So it's definitely not a light bulb, put it that way. Anyway, that's going to be the next video. So with that, I'm gonna call it for the day. We've been going for 2.5 hours, so pretty good. It was great to get back to some streaming. Thank you all for your attention and all of the support in both on Twitch and YouTube. Thank you, guys. It's been much appreciated. I've enjoyed it. I hope you've enjoyed the little stream here, and we will continue to do these. I'm here for a couple more weeks. I'm going to go down to Peru in January to get a preview. I'm running down there to put together a tour. I'm working with some people in Peru, so hopefully we'll have a tour announcing for that for like October-ish time frame this year. We'll put that together. Easter Island extension, stuff like that. But I'm going down there with Russ for like 10 days or something to check it out and just sort of verify and plan. And I'll hopefully get a bunch more of this done. I've got a lot more of this footage to get through over the next couple of weeks. So hopefully in the next few days I'll be streaming again. And I think, where's the end music? Yeah, we can put on the end music. I don't know. Where is the end music? I'll have to find it. I normally have music on at the end here because... where is it? Because, I know I have in my videos I do, but I couldn't really put music on with... There you go. There's the end music. It's also the intro music, but it'll work. So I can't put too much of it in there because YouTube loses their shit about music, and Twitch literally is set up to ignore copyright, and so you can play whatever music you want and just not have it recorded. So yes, indeed. Hope everyone had a Merry Christmas and have a great New Year. So I assume the next stream, when you see me next, will be 2025. So you guys have fun wherever you are in the world. I hope the weather's nicer than where it is here for me. What with the endless rain, although right now the sun's shining, I kind of want to go outside and stand in it. So we're going to do that. Kine and Bart, $5, man. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, sir.
Last minute
You're a gentleman and a scholar.
And yeah, I message when I'm going to be going live in my Discord generally. I don't really tweet or do anything else. Obviously, if you subscribe to either channels, you should get notifications if you have those turned on. But otherwise, join the Discord to get access to it. I think I have links to the Discord under all my videos on YouTube. Or if you're in the chat on Twitch, it's !Discord, and you'll get an invite. Anyone can join. And yeah, I notify people when I'm going live out there. So you guys take it easy. Thank you so much for joining me for a couple of hours, and we'll catch you all in the next one. Alrighty now. Bye-bye all.